On Monday, it was President's Day, but protesters marched around the country to show their dissatisfaction for what they see as Trump's illegal overreach. They were carrying signs and shouting phrases like, "No kings on President's Day," "Elon Musk has got to go," "This is a coup," "Cowards bow to Trump, Patriots stand up," and "I want you to resist." The next day, Trump signed another executive order that gives him control over agencies that Congress has established as independent from the president. Once again, legal scholars say that Trump is overreaching his authority, so most likely this will be challenged in court. But by now, many believe that all these illegal executive orders that Trump has signed over the past month are just part of his playbook to get the conservative Supreme Court to rule in his favor. Then on Wednesday, Trump put a stop to New York City's congestion pricing program by rescinding its approval. He then did a victory lap by posting on his social media, "Long live the king." The same day, the New York governor, Kathy Hochul, said that we are a nation of laws, not ruled by a king, and that she will see him in court. The next day at CPAC, we were introduced to the Third Term Project, where supporters say that the 22nd Amendment, that limits the president to 2 terms, was not what the Founding Fathers wanted and therefore should be repealed. Critics say that the 22nd Amendment was adopted for a reason, and anyone who wants to repeal it forgets why it was implemented in the first place. On top of that, critics are curious why Republicans want to use imagery of Caesar to promote their cause, because it's becoming increasingly harder to believe that conservatives are defenders of our republic, or any republic, when they're constantly embracing things that undermine it. Then on Friday, Trump confronted the governor of Maine, Janet Mills, about if she'll comply with his executive order of banning trans women from playing in women's sports. She said she would comply with all state and federal laws. Trump snapped back and said, "We are the federal law, and that you better do it because you're not going to get any federal funding if you don't." She replied, "Well, I'll see you in court," and Trump said, "I'm looking forward to it." In a later statement, the governor of Maine said that we should not be misled. This is not just about who can compete on the athletic field. This is about whether the president can force compliance with his will, without regard for the rule of law that governs our nation. The next morning, we learned that Trump fired the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Air Force General C.Q. Brown Jr. Instead, Trump has nominated retired Air Force Lieutenant General Dan Raising Kane to be the next chairman, despite not having the prerequisites for the job. Critics say that General Brown was dismissed because of Trump's campaign to rid the military of leaders who support diversity and equity in order to hire a more qualified person. Ironically, General Brown is more qualified than Lieutenant General Kane. Finally, on Sunday, we learned that Elon Musk sent an email to all federal employees, stating that they have roughly 48 hours to answer 5 questions about what they accomplished last week. Several agencies and judges told employees that they do not need to respond to the email, and some are even threatening lawsuits. Despite more than 70 lawsuits filed already saying that the Trump administration is acting illegally, Trump's team does not seem to be deterred.